Now in this video, we will try to understand what is the impact of inflation on various economic agents. Now, various economic agents here are the bondholders, then the investors in the share market, and the salaried employees. So, before understanding the impact of inflation on these economic agents, let us first understand what is inflation. Inflation is basically the increase in overall price level. So, here I am writing it. Inflation is the increase in overall price level. Now, if the price level increases, what will be the impact of this increase in price level? The immediate impact or the general impact of this increase in price level will be the decrease in purchasing power. So, purchasing power. Now, when people will be affected adversely due to this inflation? When people will be Now, when people will be adversely affected due to this inflation, people will adversely affected due to this inflation if the source where they have put their money, or if their invested amount of money is growing at a slower pace than the decrease in the purchasing power. Now, from this perspective, we will check the first two components, that is the bondholders and the investors in the share market. Because in these two cases, basically, people are keeping their money in the securities market, or we can say that they are investing their money. We need to check that how they are getting affected due to this decline in purchasing power or due to this inflation. So first let us check it for the bondholders. Now when we are talking about bondholders, we need to know who are they. So bondholders are basically holding a certificate of the uh, amount of money that they have invested to the companies or to the government bonds or securities. So bond is basically nothing but a contract. So bond is basically a contract between the issuer and the money who has given, means the lender. Now in this case, there are three types of bond, but I'm not going into detail of these types of bonds. Rather, we need to understand three aspects of this contract when this contract is a bond. What are these three aspects? Number one, that is the principal. Principal is basically the amount that the uh, investors or that the lender has given to the issuer. This is the principal amount. Now, since the issuer has taken the money from the lender, he will also give some amount in return. That returned amount is called the coupon. So it is nothing but the interest rate that the issuer is giving on the principal amount that the lender has given it to the issuer. Now, both these things will also depend on the now the third important component in this aspect, in this regard, is the maturity. Maturity is basically telling that at which period the principal amount will be returned to the lender and the contract will be over. Clear? So, how much amount the lender will earn due to this contract is basically the return on the bond. Now, in this case, what is the earning? What is the earning on due on this contract? The earning is nothing but this coupon. This is the coupon. So, coupon rate is basically the rate at which the issuer will return on the principal amount that it has received, and during the maturity the issuer will also return the entire amount of principal to the lender. So this coupon is basically the return. Now when this coupon is decided, the coupon is actually being decided when the principal is taken from the lender to the when the principal is uh, given by the lender to the issuer of the bond. Now, definitely, if there is an inflation, then the next contracts can include that rate of inflation in and make the adjustment in the coupon. But the old bonds, what about the old and already issued bond? Old and already issued bond will not be capable to adjust it in the coupon, right? In that case, then who are the bond holders? They will lose the money if there is an inflation. So we can say that the bond holders, they are basically losers. They are the losers when the inflation happens. Now we will check that what will happen to the investors in the share market. Now, to understand that how the investors will be affected due to inflation, first we need to understand what is share market and how these share market investors are related with the inflation. So, what is share market? Share market is basically when uh, so what is share? Share is share market investors. So share market investors are basically the investors who buy shares. Shares of what? Shares of the companies. Companies, or we can say as the businesses. Now, what is the major objective of the companies? Major objective of the companies is to maximize the profit or profit maximization. Now, how the companies can maximize the profit? Profit is nothing but the difference between the revenue and the cost. Correct? Now, how companies can earn this revenue? Company can earn this revenue by selling more output, and when we multiply this output with the price, we get the revenue. Correct? So in this case, if companies think that the price will increase due to inflation, definitely it will act as an incentive to the companies or to the producers, and they will produce more to earn more revenue. So if they're producing more and they are earning more revenue, definitely this profit will go up. Now, the moment the profit is going up, it will give a positive impression about the company to the investors in the share market. So, definitely the market price of the share, I write here market price of the share will go up. So when the market price of the share goes up, who has already invested in the shares of this company will definitely be benefited. So in this case, second case, that is the investors in the share markets, they will be the gainers. Gainers for what? Gainers if there is an inflation in the economy. Now let us look at the third component, that is the salaried employees. Now to understand how these salaried employees will be affected due to inflation, we need to understand how these salaried employees are connected with the inflation. Now what is the earning of the salaried employees? That is nothing but the salary. Now, how many times in a year the salaries are adjusted? Or, in other words, the increments are given to the employees once in a year, in general, once in a year, there is a salary adjustment or increment is adjusted with the existing salary. Now, say for example, every year the employees' are salaries are increased in the uh, May, month of May, based on the performance of the employees from June to May. Clear? May here means I am taking here, say for example, 31st May. So, in this case, definitely if there is any inflation between this period of time, say for example, in January, there is a huge inflation in the economy, then from January to May, there is no adjustment in the salary. This period, no adjustment. Rather, this adjustment will happen after the 31st May of the year. Clear? Why it happens? Because the salaries are always getting adjusted based on the performance and the previous period's inflation rate. So it is going basically in lag. That's why if it is salaried employees, uh, uh, salaries are we are considering the salaries of the salaried employees, then definitely they will be the losers due to the inflation. So I hope it is clear that how different economic agents will be associated with inflation and how the inflation will affect various economic agents. This is very important aspect because when inflation happens, we need to understand the position of each economic agents and accordingly we need to take our financial decisions. I hope this concept is clear, and if you have any question or comments you can ask me in the comment section. Thank you. See you in the next video.